We are doing a top 5 battle of our interior offensive line rankings. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Draft Bros. Schmo, give them a what's up and tell them who we're going to be talking about today.
What's crack-a-lackin'? It is your boy Broshmo here with Mr. Hail Mary Sports himself. We're talking about the hog mollies there on the interior, on the offensive side of the football. We're talking the interior offensive line.
Excited, stoked. This is going to be a top 5 battle, and we're going to be going back and forth, taking our dudes, and then we're going to be mentioning some extra names after because naturally we're going to be missing. This is a good interior offensive line class, so this video might have an extended portion of that compared to some of these other positions that might not be as deep. But do you want to start it off, or would you like me to go with
I actually would love to start off. I just want to get this pronunciation out of the way.
There we go.
Yeah, my number 5 is Washington's currently tackle, Troy Fautanu.
Close enough. Yeah, Fautanu.
I'm going to call him Troy. Like I said, he currently plays left tackle. He's a former 4-star, coming in a sexy 6'4", 312 pounds. Redshirt his freshman year, played only 4 games in the shortened season in 2020, and then he had 3 starts in 2021. It was last year where he had 12 starts at left tackle, 1 at left guard, and guard is probably where he's going to project in the NFL, and he's actually a pretty agile mover at that. Gets to the second level pretty quickly, gets out of this, just fires out of the stance pretty well. One thing I love, regardless of position, if you keep moving your feet through contact, I think that's just good regardless of what you're playing, and he does that. He's stout at the point of the attack. I think he uses his hands pretty well. Like once he latches on, you're stuck dancing with him for the whole dang song. He's that good. I think he's got a pretty decent punch too if he wants to lay it on with strikes, and I think he's pretty versatile. Like he can be a phone booth blocker. I think he's got the upper body strength for that, but also he's a guy that's just really good on the move, but is stuck currently playing a position where she's not going to be doing it in the NFL. But it's fine. We've seen guys do that at the next level, and honestly, I think that's something the NFL doesn't mind moving towards. Like, hey, we need a guard. All right, let's look at this tackle class.
Yeah.
There are times he can overextend and be a little bit lungy, but I feel like that's kind of a common theme anyway among offensive linemen. And while I did say agile mover, I don't think he necessarily has the quickest feet in pass protection, so to speak. So and I think that's just kind of like, him playing tackle there.
Yes.
In the Pac-12. It's going to be a different story at guard. That's why we project him as a guard. But yeah, I'm a big fan. You said you liked him as well prior to the video.
Yes, he's my number 3.
Oh, I didn't know you. I didn't know you made your 5.
I really like him. I'll just add on to what you said. So I wanted to heavily study the one game he started at left guard, and the thing that was really funny about it is his positioning was really atrocious because he didn't really understand the role of a guard in maintaining the curvature of the pocket. It felt like he was playing tackle at the guard spot. So where like the center and tackle would be here, and the guard's supposed to like maintain the curvature. He would be like back here with his like body angled the way a tackle would be to secure the edge. And it caused some issues here and there. I think it's a huge nitpick, and I think it's something that it's just kind of more muscle memory for him, but definitely needs to get more comfortable playing the guard position. We're talking about his foot movement not being necessarily the fastest because he's playing a Pac-12 tackle move. And I think that's probably the exact same thing with the issue about him being a guard is he's just playing tackle. And it's true, yeah. But he's a feisty guy. Like he will absolutely truck your ass, and he's a really good run blocker. I think, again, we're talking about pass blocking, probably his bigger weakness, but still does a very, very solid job. Arm length is the main issue. I think that you'll agree with that. The fact that he just
go to guard.
Yeah, like his arms are really short, and it's kind of weird. Even as a guard, he doesn't handle it really well. But I think that he needs to get more comfortable handling the bigger dudes, because the way his play style is is he's more adjusting for speed, and you can tell he hasn't gotten comfortable anchoring against power, especially on the interior. So I think those are just going to be maybe half a year to fix, but I think he has high upside as a potential starter. Just there's a lot of traits I think that could certainly continue to develop into a high quality starting guard.
Cool. Who's your number 5?
My number 5 is Zach Zinter, right guard out of Michigan.
This is gonna be fun. He's my number 4.
Oh, there we go. So yeah, I mean, we have a pretty similar. I'm sure we're gonna have a pretty similar top 5. I
guarantee you, my number 1 is a 7th rounder to you.
No, Cooper Beebe is not.
Spoilers.
Oh, everybody knows you love him. We already had arguments about that guy. But Zach Zinter is a very fun interior offensive lineman to watch. I think that, like, in terms of run blocking, you can't find much better in this class. If you are running behind him, he will open up the hole for you. He is amazing. He is a can opener, so to speak. You will see him absolutely widen a gap. Most of these big runs for Donovan Edwards, Blake Corum, they'll be ran right behind Zach Zinter. So he is very consistent in terms of being a massive asset in the run game. His arms are really short, though. I think they might be sub 31 inches. That's a big issue for me because you see him grabbing the outside of the shoulders very often. That's not good. I want to see a guard who grabs on the interior. It's better than a tackle who grabs on the shoulders because tackles, it's really easy for a ref to see a holding call. But for guards, you can get away with it somewhat. I think it's clean mechanics to keep your hands inside the shoulder pads. You can hold there and it's not as obvious, just saying. But, his foot mechanics still need a lot of work in pass pro. He's very effective as a blocker, but I just don't think that he has the polish and, with a good O-line coach, and if his arms measure out over 31 inches, I think he'd be a consistent starter. But I am deathly afraid of how short this man's arms are because he rarely ever makes first contact, and that's a very bad thing at the NFL level.
Yeah, he's coming in at 6'6", 315, so he is a little taller. Did
you update your sizes?
No, these are from when I pulled them during the summer.
Okay, he's 322 now, so it doesn't even matter.
I'm trying to talk about it, unless he got shorter somehow. I mean, I guess that's only a problem if he's blocking for like Kyler Murray, I guess, but
yeah.
So like the leverage, I mean, he sinks well though, so it's like not even that big of an issue. I think he's probably better at place like as a phone booth guy. I don't really think he's not the quickest. Like,
no.
Again, on the interior, that's not the end all be all. I constantly have to tell myself don't fall in love with athleticism on the interior because rarely does it really matter a ton.
Yeah.
But for the most part, you kind of like hit up on all the stuff.
Yeah, with him. His anchor does need a lot of work, though. But I think that's because his arms are so short that he can't control the engagement. So he's kind of more leaning really far forward, and just sometimes there's some poor balance there. Gets driven back.
So I'll go ahead and jump to my 3 since we already covered your 3.
Yep.
And I got Donovan Jackson. This was a guy we talked about. He's a former 5-star. Out of the 2021 class. He's coming in at 6'4", 320. Ohio State's also one of the schools that are like the slowest at changing their sizes. So I'm just going to assume that's where he's at.
It's on mine too.
Okay, beautiful. And I remember I was like, I don't think he's nearly as quick as everyone's like making him out to be. Mm-hmm. And you're like, oh, this guy's light as fast. He could probably play tackle. I was like, really? And I was like, okay, the guy's playing next to Paris Johnson, who's like ridiculous. That's probably the truth. It's just probably unfair. Like, oh no, look at Johnson out there. There's athleticism there, but kind of is what it is, man. He is just someone I think that needs to work on just being a technician, whether it's his how he uses his hands, when it comes to like just how accurate his strikes are, or just in general, just trying to like latch on or where to latch onto and whatnot. I think he does get beat sometimes against explosive interior guys. Going back to 2022, I kind of noted like Jalen Carter, who would have thought, right? He killed everybody. But also my boy Adetomiwe from
Yeah.
Northwestern had a nice field day with him. But he's Adetomiwe. He was a tough guy to guard anyway because of long arms and just stout size. You know, that's gonna be tough for any guard or center, regardless. But
How early was that in the year? That was an earlier game, wasn't it?
it was I think the first half of the season.
Okay.
But the dude's got good length. He is strong. He is fast. He is ideal. He just honestly just needs to clean up, become more polished, so to speak. Last year was his first year as a starter. I imagine he will look much better this year. Haven't looked at the Indiana game. Probably don't plan on it.
He was the best lineman out there. I'll say that.
Okay.
Yeah, he was. So for me, he's my number 4. So we're pretty much covering our top, our like
we
3.
went around the world, baby.
We did.
I am really interested in who your first guy is.
I know you are.
I am, because I've been trying to narrow it down. I was like,
yeah, you're not going to.
Yeah, just based on who you told me he struggled against, I was like, who the hell is this guy?
David Van. I know. We'll talk about him soon.
Well, yeah. I want to. When you get to it, that's when I want to hear it.
So yeah, Donovan Jackson was somebody who, before I even brought him back up to you, was somebody who I was naturally a lot lower on because you see him next to Paris Johnson, Luke Whippler, and the one. Yeah, I mean, like it's a pretty tough comparison compared to those guys who were. I think Whippler was like top 35 for me. Paris Johnson.
Yeah, he only fell because of injuries. Just gonna
like,
throw that out there.
Yeah,
I think he was also like in the preseason. He was the top graded center.
He was. So good for us because we loved him. But what I love,
he was kind of easy to fall in love with.
Yeah, I mean it's a consistent Ohio State center. So I mean it's really not that difficult. Who had good length and good athleticism. So Donovan Jackson. My honestly issue with him, you were talking about power. I didn't really see him having the impact on defensive players.
Okay.
A lot, and I don't think that that's a bad thing. I don't think power is the end all be all. I'm honestly a little bit the opposite of you, where I really do like athleticism at the guard position because of how many zones blocking systems there are now. And
Kyle Shanahan,
that little bastard. But my one issue with him, I don't know. Kyle's probably like 6'4" if we're thinking about it. But Donovan has an issue with being an absolute menace with the impact of his blocking. So we're talking about the hand strikes. I think that they need to be a little bit more powerful. I think their placement, if I'm going to be honest with you, are perfectly fine. I have him graded out as a B+ in the hands category. Not perfect, but solid enough. I like, again, when I grade hand position, it's essentially, do you grab the shoulders or do you not? Or how often do you? So take that with a pinch of salt. I think my biggest issue besides the power was his processing. A lot of times I saw him either, assisting Paris Johnson when, there might be a free rusher, or not passing off a stunt very well, or when it just simply came to there's nobody in front of me, he looked a little lost, or down the field processing. And that's not the easiest thing to get. Sometimes you just want to maintain the position in your pocket. I get it. But, I'm just going to call it as I see. We both like him. He's still a good guard. Just have to say the negatives about him. Really consistent as a run blocker, even without the power. And similar to a lot of Ohio State players, have an issue with his anchor. And, I don't think that's a bad thing because it's C+. It's still solid. But, he sometimes needs to have better leverage. And I think we're talking about polish. He needs to have good polish. And he'll get there. But, he's a feisty dude. He's somebody who I could definitely see being a starting guard in the NFL.
Yeah. Side note, Kyle Shanahan, 6'2".
Okay, so we're close. Man, we both love Beau Limmer. Is he your number 2 as well?
Yeah.
Okay, so he is our number 2. Beau... I'll let you go because you're the one who first brought up Beau. I'm going to let you have your love affair.
Yeah, he's 6'5", 306 as far as I know.
That's what I have.
Yeah. And I came across him, like he was on my watch list, but I was watching the defensive interior first. And I was watching the the
Dante
Godfather
Corleone.
from Cincinnati.
Dante Corleone.
Yeah, yeah. I was watching him because I was like, okay, let me check out his Power 5 games. And I was like, well, this sucks. This is like his first start ever.
Yeah, ever.
And yeah, Beau Limmer had a field day. He really did. And I was like, oh man, I'm really gonna like watching this guy. But man, oh man, dude, he's making the move to center this year. He moved there in the bowl game. Now that who was center last year for him?
Stromberg. Ricky.
Oh, Ricky Stromberg. So yeah, center, very vital position for Arkansas's offense. So that's why they're moving him there. And he played spectacular against Liberty. But I don't know.
But still, I mean, good players need to play good against poor competition.
Yeah, exactly. But man, oh man, dude, I just think he just does a solid job with all his blocks, man. He really does. Like he's willing to lay guys out, and he is an eraser for that interior. He truly is. Whether he's he can finish plays, whether it's just like driving you into the ground or just stopping your momentum dead with his strikes. It is just real nice. He's got quick feet, so I think he's really kind of like scheme whatever, not scheme dependent. The opposite of that. He can play in any scheme, any of those variety. He's got the quick feet. He's really good at resetting when he has to, whether it's his anchor or his arms. Just good recovery in general, shows good balance, plays low. Just love that. While I say he's a good athlete, not the most rangy guy, but again, not a stickler for I'm talking like top end, like elite. That's why I wouldn't put him in. Okay, cool. Well,
interesting.
I'm saying as far as I'm pretty hard pressed to put an interior offensive lineman in the first round.
Yeah.
So for me, it was like, that not quite. For me, that was kind of holding him back.
Sure.
There are some times in vertical sets, he kind of has trouble keeping his balance and he wants an attack, right?
Yeah.
He's got that mentality the NFL loves. He wants attack. So if you're a play action heavy squad, you're gonna love this guy. If not, you're gonna have to tell him, hey, this is a passing set. You gotta you gotta sit back.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Can't be going forward, my friend.
Yeah, actually, I forget who I was watching recently, but there was a guard, and I just saw him continue to run down the field mid pass play. And I'm like, what are you doing? The refs missed it. I'm waiting.
To the extent where he was
he was 4 yards downfield. Yeah, 4 yards downfield. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing, man?
That's funny.
But it was funny. So I'm pulling up my exact scouting report right now on him. Damn, I've scouted a lot of guards. Shoot. So I said gonna be an asset in the run game. Okay, hold on. I said something about first rounder. Damn. I was really hoping I could quickly find it right here. But regardless, I really like him. The one issue I saw was his feet get really close together when he's pushing linemen. Really close together. The way that I would run normally is the way that he's pushing. And that gives you really poor leverage and balance when defenders know how to throw you off. I did see him on the ground a couple times because of that, or thrown off. But I mean, we both have him at number 2. I have him as an elite athlete for the interior position. So I guess we see it a little bit differently there, but I think we're both saying he's a plus athlete. He's a good athlete.
Yeah.
Unlike the other guys before him, who have all been actually larger, he has one of the better anchors. He does lean a little bit too far forward, and I think he does compensate for that 306 frame. But because he's 6'5" as well, it's not like he's a 6'3", 306 where he's really compact. He is, he's not the thickest guy in the world. But I do believe that when it comes to leverage, he needs a lot of work. But I'm a little bit annoyed at the fact that I haven't picked up this part where I talked about it, but I essentially said that I would take him in the first round if I have a good O-line coach, because he has the good hand placement. He has the athleticism. He has the ferocity and the power. And he's really a big asset in the run game and just needs to refine a little bit more as a pass blocker. So really good player overall. I did see him give up a couple of times early on plays. I saw him just stop blocking randomly, but it's a minute issue. I don't think it's going to translate.
No.
I'm going to let you go to number 1 because I want to save my number 1.
Oh,
it's the big
I'm
reveal.
Really excited.
It's the big reveal.
All right. Well, yeah, you spoiled my number 1 anyway. It's Cooper Beebe out of Kansas State.
It's most people's number 1.
Yeah, it's most people's.
He's my number 6, by the way. You think I hate him? I have him as a.
I mean, you know how you talk about players.
It's true. It is true. It's true. I hate him as a tackle.
Yeah, that's why he's at guard now. No one was considering him as a tackle.
Yeah. Yep.
All right, so he's 6'4", 332, former 3-star recruit. Originally, he was a defensive tackle. Moved to the offensive side of the football when he arrived there at Kansas State. Competed in the shot put, placed 3rd in state back in 2017, and played basketball as well. So, some fun facts there. Redshirt his freshman year in 2019 and was an immediate starter in 2020. He played his first 7 games at right tackle before moving to left guard for the final game. Played left tackle all in 2021, moved to left guard last season. And I mean, granted, okay, a tackle, you're facing 3-man fronts in the Big 12. It kind of is what it is, right? So him moving to guard was kind of like no biggie. Everyone kind of expected. He was basically playing it because this dude felt untested in the Big 12 to some extent. I think he actually plays really light given his size. Like, he's a big boy. He knows he can really stretch out there. He's got that killer mentality. Just bury him 6 feet under. RIP, rest in peace. Feeling like the Undertaker out there. Good grip strength. Another one of these guys that, once he puts his big meaty hooks on you, you're stuck dancing with him for the whole rest of the song. That's your dancing partner. Have fun. Good balance. Didn't really see him on the ground a ton, especially at guard. And very disciplined. I think he's very disciplined with his technique. Lacked the desired length. That's why he's moving. He was projected as a guard for most people. There were times where I thought he was late off the snap. So not necessarily like, because I think he can be explosive out of his stance. It's just I felt like he was just late, So it just didn't look like he was quick in those instances. Because like I've seen this dude move. Yeah. I know he could get up quicker than that. As a run blocker, he can turn into a lunger. Again, most case for most tackles. It kind of is what it is. So yeah, why do you hate him?
He's my number 6, so I don't hate him. I actually have a pretty damn solid grade on him. He is my number 64 player in the draft, which is very solid.
Really good. Yeah.
Yeah,
that's actually not too far from where I have him. Because I know.
No, I like him.
Yeah, I think he's probably in like the 30 to 40 range for me.
Wow, you don't have a single interior in your top 32.
I'm not like, it's not that I'm not high on the interior class. It's very hard for me to put an interior in the top 32 for me. It just is. And we all know, like, offensive line for me is like, it's still a position that I've been doing this on YouTube for like 3 years. I feel like I'm learning more and more. It is one of the most nuanced positions on the field in general. There's just so much to know, and especially when you're watching it, like, golly, dude, like, you might have to watch the same play like 5 or 6 times just to try to understand what are they being asked to do, Yep. So it's like, I'm learning.
Fair. But for Cooper Beebe, I'm just going to read something directly from my own scouting report. Needs to have confidence in his abilities at range, not just bullying people with his weight, because it won't work at the next level. He leans forward way too much, which also leads to a lot of clean block sheds. He has very nice dominant reps here and there, but really needs to refine his footwork and balance to be much more consistent. With a good O-line coach, I think he can do that well. So Yeah, I mean, I don't think that Kansas State's been, offensive line powerhouse to where they continue producing top tier prospects. And that means that you're not probably going to be trained and improve at the rate that guys like Ohio State and maybe Wisconsin are able to do. So, you know, naturally, I think there's a large gap of improvement, but he also hasn't been in the environment to let him improve. But I do think that he has the length required to be an NFL guard. He just needs to trust it. I don't know if maybe his confidence got shot when he moved from tackle to guard, but he just needs to be comfortable being an actual blocker and not just a 330-pound piece of meat in the middle. So unlike you, I love putting offensive linemen in my top 32.
Didn't you play offensive line?
I played offensive line for 7 years.
Well, there you go.
So I have a big passion for offensive line. This guy is my number 10 player in the NFL draft. His name is Christian Haynes, interior offensive lineman out of Connecticut.
Man, I'm here trying to think of ACC too. You got me. I love Christian Haynes.
He is so fun to watch. First off, best athlete interior in the class. He flies. I studied him last year, and the instant thing that took my breath away was how mobile this guy was. And I had him actually in one of my original way too early mock drafts. So, I had some initial faith in him getting better. The more I watched him against, I'll even pull up the games right now just to be like, oh, check the tape, bro. Because, I mean, obviously when I have somebody as top 10, it's a pretty large accusation to say that this guy is better than
Quentin Nelson at this point.
Honestly, though. But I can't find it off the top of my head. But basically, I got to see him. Why can I not find this?
Control F, buddy. Control F.
Yeah, I just got to Control F this. Usually I don't because it's a pain in the ass. But here we go. So I watched him versus Michigan and NC State. Those were the first two games I watched. And the reason why is Michigan, you're going up against Mozzie Smith. You're going up against Chris Jenkins. NC State, that was his worst statistical game. So I always like to see how players perform poorly because it's like, why? Because that can translate to the NFL. And it turns out they played NC State again. This one dude, David Van, has gotten 4 out of the 5 pressures he's had in the past 2 years. Ridiculous. So, write this dude's name down. But
Kryptonite.
I know. So what I fell in love with is Christian Haynes was an absolute menace versus first-round interior defensive lineman talent versus Michigan. So he was just, one, extremely athletic. He knows how to use his movement skills very well. I think his anchor is his biggest concern. It was what my biggest concern with him last year as well. He obviously when you look at Connecticut, they're, again, not an offensive line powerhouse. You're not naturally going to be, being developed. But he actually is awkwardly polished for coming from a school that should not be teaching him the skills that he needs. And I have a theory for that. UConn is really good defensive linemen. I think this guy's been playing against some of the best and the most underrated defensive line talent, like Travis Jones, since he's been coming in. And iron sharpens iron. This guy's been playing against really good defensive line talent since he got there. Exactly. Like Christian Haynes has been practicing against really good players every single day, and a lot of other Power 5 players have as well. But it might explain why he's gotten so good with his mechanics, because you can't get away with poor mechanics against good D linemen. They take advantage of that. But he's awkwardly really defined as a pass blocker as well, but he's the best run blocker I've seen in this class. Again, against guys who are 320 plus pounds, and even, Chris Jenkins was 290. But you're being able to boss up against Mozzie Smith, who was, again, a first-round pick. And it's just, when you see somebody who goes to a small school, elite athleticism, and is able to perform against guys who are looked at the NFL level as plus starters, you cannot turn away. And I looked at why he failed versus David Van. And David Van has this weird ability to use leverage against Christian Haynes in zone blocking. And that was probably one of the bigger issues I had was he didn't stay square to the defender every single time in zone blocking. And that's an easy to correct issue. And David Van has exposed him now twice, but we'll see if anybody else does.
Yeah. The nitpick here I put was regarding leverage. Like, it's not like he's tall. I have him at 6'3".
6'3". Yep.
Yeah. And it was like, I just didn't think he sank low enough. So
yeah, I'm seeing
could stem a lot from, or that could at least lead to a lot of the anchor problems. Anchor's not necessarily a strength thing, obviously. So
yeah, such a fluid athlete, and unlike Limmer, is keeping a wider base and is more stable. Super minute issue is blocking versus defensive backs. Want him to use more of his lengths and just bully them with strength. Extremely bold prediction. I could see Haynes having a gold jacket.
Oh my gosh, dude. I can't believe you said that out loud.
Yeah. Well, when I put a guard in the top 10, there's a reason. The last time I did an interior offensive lineman top 10, it was Linderbaum. So I think he's on par. But I don't think he'll go remotely close to that. I think he'll be end of round 2, maybe, for a team that's excited for a freak athlete. But, when Philadelphia takes him and just randomly ruins the ability for him to potentially start in the future, we'll talk.
All right, man. Let's cover some of these guys that didn't, just missed the list.
Yeah,
I got Sedric, Van, Pran, Granger. Yep. Now they add that other part.
Yeah,
but 6'4", 310, coming out of Georgia, former 4-star recruit. So I mean, coming out of Georgia, you know this man gotta love run blocking, right?
Mm-hmm.
He has been a starter the last 2 years, and fun fact. He has played the most percentage of snaps of any Bulldog the last 2 years.
Impressive.
So, yeah, this man don't come off the field.
I
think he's a very explosive athlete, good foot speed, climbs well, big motor. He has good understanding of blocking angles, gets out of space, knows how to get out in front of screens, very effective at just washing defenders out of the way to clear the open field, and plays with a good anchor, shows good core strength. Never will see him bent backwards. Plays with a good that NFL mentality, basically, that whole bury him. I feel like I always note that just because I know they'll go higher than I know they'll just go higher because of that. That's why we saw like Trevor Pennon, dude. Like he probably had as many wins as he did losses at stinking Senior Bowl. But
it's those wins.
Yeah, all you heard everyone talk about is like, oh man, this guy buries him deep, man. Oh man, he's out to kill, that killer instinct, and bam, look at that. Freaking New Orleans moving. Did they move up to get him?
I
know they moved up to get
they got Olave. I don't think they moved.
Irrelevant.
Yeah,
they took him in the top 20 because of it.
Yeah. Well, no, that was a trade with the Eagles, right?
I don't know. We're talking many drafts ago at this point.
Yeah.
Some of the things I didn't like about him was he, again, another guy that can be a lunger. Just ends up getting like toroed like a bull in a matador. I feel like he was on the ground a lot. Not always a good thing when your blockers are on the ground, and he will struggles to sustain blocks in the run game. Part of that I thought was a lack of upper body strength and length in general. Like, it just kind of noticed, like, at the point of contact, he had a tough time just trying to latch on. And so it's like we're talking balance issues, maybe grip issues. So,
sure.
Yeah. I mean, he's going to be a third-year starter, so.
Yeah. I think he's like kind of the jack of all trades. Like, he doesn't really do anything really poorly.
Yeah.
His anchor actually was a bit of a concern for me because I factor in whether you just get driven back versus, push a defender forward. I don't think he's necessarily the most powerful in the upper body, and that's a big reason why. Like, guys who can have that pop with their hands are significantly more likely to not get pushed back when the defender is stunned. That's just logical here. He doesn't really have that type of power. I love his hand placement, though. He really does know how to not grab the shoulder pads, which is a big plus in this class. But solid athlete, really balanced blocker. I don't really think that he leans too much as a pass protector or a run stuffer or a run blocker. He just is really consistent. And if he's able to get better leverage, because he's 6'4", 310, he should have a better anchor than he does. I think he's a good work in progress type of guy. So we'll see the Philadelphia Eagles take another Georgia Bulldog and see what happens from there.
All right. Who do you got, bud?
All right. Well, yeah, SVP was the next guy. So he's my number 7. I'm actually going to skip my number 8 and go to my number 9 guy because, this is just the honorable mentions category. Isaiah Adams out of Illinois. I really like this guy. Really like this guy. He's a mauler in the run game. And I think similar to Sedric Van Pran, his processing not necessarily up there with some of these other more polished and more comfortable offensive linemen. His hands are adequate. He does sometimes awkwardly body a dude rather than blocking them properly. And his footwork needs a lot of work. But just some of the high upside reps that I saw really did make me believe he could be a starter in the NFL. I think he's going to be a quality backup nonetheless, has good power, 6'5", 315. He almost has a tackle body, but has, unfortunately, short arms. So get that out of your mind. Not necessarily the best athlete. I think he's on Cooper Beebe territory at 20 pounds lighter. So, not necessarily going to be on your Christian Haynes territory either. He needs a lot of work in his pass pro. He got actually beat quite a few times because his leverage is improper. You've heard that plenty of times now, so it's ingrained in your memory. This class randomly does not know how to sit into their heels when they're blocking a player. They love to go on their toes, and defenders love to eat that up. I don't get it. But hands stay inside for a good amount. Really dominant with his anchor and power, which is not stereotypical of this class. But if I had to pull something out of my overall grading, I mean, the thing I actually really liked about him was, in quotes, man, I love how this dude F's up interior defensive lineman once he is square. So he just doesn't know how to position himself. But once he does, the potential is there.
Yeah. Going to be one of the older guys. Fun fact, much like Matthew Bergeron last season, our boy Adams comes from the great north of Canada.
There we go.
Went to Wilfrid Laurier University. Redshirted his first year. Had no stats on what he did in 2020 or 2019. Did go to Garden City Community College, though. Very popular. Before coming to Illinois in 2022. I basically had the same stuff, dude. I said from a technical standpoint, just not there yet. He had 9 penalties last season, so I like that. That's a good call. I'm gonna go with Mason McCormick.
Damn it. God, that's the next guy I wanted to talk about. Damn it.
Yes.
Beast.
6'5", 315, baby. Former 0-star recruit. Let's go.
Oh my God.
So he came from Sioux Falls, South Dakota, competed in track and field. No, he wasn't running. It was that discus and shot put. That's right. He is a 6-year player, played all 6 years at South Dakota State. Redshirt his freshman season, but he's been a starter since 2019. So you're dealing with a guy with a ton of experience. He has almost 2,600 snaps to his name, almost all of them at guard. But I think he'll actually have no problem playing center if they really want him to. Not the best athlete, I would say. I think he's got quick feet, and I think he's better like moving vertically than he is laterally.
Sure.
Which is fine. A lot of power though. This dude is a lot of power. We're not talking about Cody Mock last year.
Yeah.
This dude, he will hit you like a cannonball.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, or maybe a brick through a windshield. Maybe that's more relevant. We don't really use cannonballs nowadays, but he throws the haymakers. I think the quick feet though, they do show up as a pass protector. Like I like the lower body mechanics; they're very clean. His understanding,
Really?
I thought so. Like as a pass protector, I thought so.
Hmm.
Okay.
I guess yeah. Okay, keep going.
Okay. I put his
one of my-
understanding of blocking ankles make him just very difficult to beat in general. And once he gets movement with haste, he is hard to stop, likes to bury guys, and the NFL loves that type of stuff. He plays tall in just all facets, whether it's moving horizontally or vertically, whether it's dropping pass pro or just getting up the field in the run game. That high pad level just kind of takes away from his strong frame. Strikes aren't always precise, and there are times where he just gets caught whiffing on defenders.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So
my first line said, "Ew, nasty whiff."
That's funny.
They're like, I'm not even joking. I'm reading it right now. Ew, nasty whiffed hand placement. And then it's like, oh man. So one of my lines said,
hold on. Tell me about the feet then in pass protection. You didn't like it?
No, dude, this guy is okay. I literally said this. Where did I said, love seeing a force, but Jesus, at least have some respect for quality blocking. So he's an absolute menace, but talk about a bull in a china shop. This guy has absolutely no respect for quality mechanics. His feet, his balance. This guy's lowering his head like a damn torpedo. I mean, he didn't learn anything from Ryan Shazier. Obviously, he needs to go back to 101. But I said, and I quote, would love this dude in 1975. And that is exact. I mean, look at him. Look at him. Tell me that
jaws dropped on the Shazier comment.
Dude, I mean, you don't lower your head like that when you're trying to hit somebody. This guy's doing that. It's like, what the frick?
I love Shazier, dude.
I love Shazier. No, but like that's the reason why he's not playing more is because you don't lower your head because it's stupid. Like
I gotcha. Yeah. I know what you're trying to say.
Yes, like it's not going to fly in the NFL. But he is an absolute menace. Talk about Trevor Penning, but at least he's at guard. His hand placement, atrocious. He flashed some good hand refiring. You're right. But this guy loves to just hug guys. And this just is not church.
Someone say the world needs more of that.
And it does, but not on the football field. But this guy's one of the best run blockers that I have seen. He knows how to use his like absolute menacing figure frame ability to just destroy people. And it's so fun to watch. He's my number 10 interior offensive lineman. Even with F grades in mechanics and hands, he is still just so fun to watch. And he's going to probably be like a 3-year project before he can do anything. But I would love to honestly see this guy.
If the NFL is going to start Cody Mock from the get-go, you could start McCormick.
I like Cody Mock, to be honest. McCormick is significantly worse. But McCormick has so much more fun intertwined with his ability. I love him.
I thought Mock was pretty fun, though, too.
He is, but McCormick's different. Like, look at him. He's a freaking
Cody Mock can move.
Yes, that's also true.
You just didn't have the strength aspect that McCormick does.
I would love to see McCormick as a fullback to start out. Like, like one of those extra linemen that you bring in. Yeah. I mean, you talk about him in a straight line. This guy can move, and he's an absolute wrecking ball. Like, put him in I formation and see what happens. You don't need to have great hand placement when you're just destroying a hole. Pause. So it's just, I don't know. He's a fun player to watch, but he's going to need some time.
Yeah, he is. You got one more?
Oh, man. All right. I'll talk about one more. And I'll talk about Javion Cohen. I like Javion Cohen.
Yeah. I like him too.
So speaking
especially that hurricane aspect of him.
So I have him as my number 12, and here's the reason why. Oh. There are a lot of really positive things I have to say about Javion Cohen. The problem is, for every great thing he does, he also has some really big slip-ups. And like I said here, I want to develop him because some of these reps are great, but there are critical flaws to his game and needs to develop into the player he can be, which is a potential starter. Like for me, he leans too far forward. So I said, looks like he is compensating for his anchor concerns by leaning so far forward. Does that sound familiar with every other player in this damn class? But one of the smartest interior offensive linemen. He knows exactly what he's doing. He knows how to pass off stunts, like really good. And, you know, I'm trying to see exactly. So got pissed when whiffing on a linebacker. So at least he has a good mentality there. You know, I said he needs to remain calm. Sometimes he does get a little bit ahead of himself. You know, a game I like to watch is Tennessee because they have really good defensive interior. And, you know, they have just in general, Tennessee has a good D line. But so he actually got injured and came back that game and significantly changed his mechanics because it looked like he got scared. I don't like seeing potential flaws with a guy's confidence. And
it led coming back from injury. I mean, I feel like there's a lot of variables there.
For sure, but it was him leaning forward. It was how he approached the block before it happened. And yeah, you're going to compensate because of that. But nobody's going to be healthy after week 6 as a guard. Like offensive lineman, you're going to be dealing with shit. And if you're not confident, because it looked like his mobility was fine and it was an ankle thing. So it wasn't a massive injury. It wasn't a massive hampering on his ability. It just looked like he got scared and he didn't feel comfortable being what he was before. And again, you're going to naturally get a little bit messed up here and there. It's how can you weather the attrition? And I don't believe that he has done that well. That doesn't mean I don't think he can. But when I see it, there are some really bad reps in there. And it's because he got scared. And I don't like seeing a fractured confidence in an offensive lineman, ever.
Okay. I put here with him because I like the size. I like the athleticism. I like the explosiveness. It's just like everything is just unpolished. It's everywhere. You talked about what for like I like him leaning forward. Like I was trying to put like 2 and 2 because I felt like his he leans his head a lot. So I'm like, okay, maybe that's like core like weakness because a lot of times when guys are getting like out leveraged and whatnot, they'll like kind of do the whole sit up thing where it's like trying to reach for dear life, put the chin down. I felt like he could have been like I think he's strong, and I felt like he just wasn't I just felt like he wasn't that as strong as he should be in the run game. I felt like his hands did nothing in pass protection, like they just weren't active.
So you know the reason why if guys have strength and just don't display it in the run, it's because they don't trust themselves. They're afraid of going balls to the wall.
No.
I want to hear if you have this note as well. So I said this a couple of times. He has an issue when an interior defensive lineman gets an angle on him when he's in zone blocking. I saw that happen quite a few times. When he's on the move, he doesn't remain square, and that's when guys take really big advantage of him.
Okay. I don't think I have really anything like that.
Okay.
Like I just kind of like talked about his balance problems. I said he doesn't look like he has the quickness to recover from like losses, like from initial losses.
Yes. It's not like Olu Fashanu who randomly that guy's athleticism is ridiculous.
Yeah.
And
man, this was a lot more fun than I thought it would be.
Because it's a good class. We're talking about players that we still think could be starters in the NFL who are number 12 on my list. So, I mean, there's some good dudes.
This was a good time. Because there was actually a few guys like, man, I wouldn't mind touching up on, but I really want to talk about this guy. Like Bryce Foster, like at Texas A&M. I was like, I really want to touch up on him because he was injured last year, so a lot of people forget about him. But also, like, there's this whole thing with, like, is this hard in football? Because he actually is, like, a really good, I think, shot putter or something.
Yeah, he's a shot putter.
Yeah, for A&M. So it's like, ooh. But
didn't he skip out? He, like, skipped out in some events.
He skipped out on,
was it the
spring practice because of something. I don't know. I have a note on it, but
Yeah.
We're not talking about him today. He didn't make the cut.
Sure. Yeah.
Too bad. Too bad. Another time. But that's it for the video. Go ahead. Let us know what you think in the comment section below. Who should have we included and whatnot? And Alex, man. This was a blast.
Twas.
It was. So as always, till next time, you be easy, our friends. Later.